You're listening to Josh and Phil's Knowledge Club. Thinking caps on, thickos. Every human being will experience birth at least once in their life, often at the very beginning. At any given time, all over the world, children are being born left, right and centre, with centre being the most common and least painful route. Considered passé for many years, birth is in the midst of a cultural renaissance due to the popularity of one born every minute and the born identity. And yet, birth means different things to different people. For some, birth is a rigorous medical procedure. For some, it's a spiritual experience. And for others, it's a lucrative business transaction. With the proliferation of designer babies, more and more parents are able to choose their child's sex, hair colour, and surname. But what can we learn about birth in the 21st or indeed 22nd century? So, remember your breathing exercises, push, and listen while two men sort all this out.
Joshua, first of all, thank you for being with us today.
No problem at all. An absolute pleasure, Phil. Absolute pleasure.
We're at the University of East Coventry.
Deep in there.
They've very kindly allowed us to record on their premises once again. We're actually in the post room.
Yeah, it's fine. I needed to send some stuff off anyway, so this has worked out really nicely, actually.
It's a nice insulated space.
Yeah.
Exactly what we needed.
Mail comes in, mail goes out.
That is a post room. And how are you?
Yeah, good. Keeping busy, you know.
Yeah.
Working on a lot of stuff at the minute, a lot of projects. A lot of free...
TV,
radio? Freelance stuff, really. Kind of freelance stuff.
Sure.
Doing the bathroom this morning, a bit of grouting in there. Got to do some glossing the skirting boards in the next couple of weeks, so it's, yeah.
Not so much showbiz things, just more household DIY.
Domestic things at the moment, yeah. Get that sorted on a domestic level and then kind of go from there,
really.
Really.
Build on that.
Yeah, absolutely. You need a base.
Okay, so we're here to talk about birth, Josh. Now, what better place to start than with your own birth? Back in what year was it that you were born?
1989, yeah.
1989.
Oh, God, it seems like ages ago now, yeah. Gosh.
The year of Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah.
Fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah. Also the fall of my mum's vagina walls. Oh, speaking of Berlin Walls coming down, I need to get a partition wall down in the bathroom.
Right, well, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, just 'cause I've got a lot on, you know, so...
We just put a pin in that for now. Your own birth, then, so as we've established, there were some events in the year of your birth globally, but on the actual day of your birth, was there anything significant going on in the world?
Well, it was Sunday. Sunday, mid-afternoon in August. Middle of the afternoon, so it's kind of during the EastEnders omnibus.
Okay.
Yeah, my family watched it every weekend, every Sunday. They play this game. You have to try and guess when one episode finishes and the next one starts.
Okay.
And my dad used to win every time. He'd get it, 'cause what he used to do, he used to look at the clock, and whenever it got to 6 and 12, he'd do the drum noises. He wouldn't even be looking at the screen. He'd kind of look at the clock.
Well, that's not really in the spirit of the game, is it?
It wasn't, but the drum noises, the dum, dum, da, da, dum, actually coincided with my mum's waters breaking. So it was a dramatically very satisfying labour. The country in itself, it was in the midst of a Thatcher government, not kind on the working man. Also, it's the year Arthur Fowler died.
Oh,
and
dear.
EastEnders, yeah, leaving behind, you know, a son, wife Pauline, and a German shepherd. So not easy, but you know that's a circle of life. Phil. It's one person's born, another one leaves the world. Obviously, Bill Treacher, the actor, didn't die, but it was certainly the death of his career. I can't recall him in anything else after that.
It is common for the mother to defecate during labour, and equally as common for the father if they're at the hospital for more than 3 hours. Along with humans, dolphins are the only other mammal known to give birth purely for pleasure.
Now, birth can be a political hot potato. There's a lot of debate about when does a life actually begin. So for some people, life begins at conception. For some, life begins at birth. For others, life begins at 40. Where do you stand on this, Josh?
I personally believe, Phil, that life begins from your first memory. Yeah, because that's kind of the point in your life when you start processing things and remembering things and engaging with the world. My first memory, actually, I'll never forget it. I was on Blackpool Beach,
Sure.
riding a donkey. My dad had hired it for the day. It's not usually how it works, but we had an agreement. And there was 2 donkey companies at the time. There was Don's Donkeys, so kind of the big donkey company. Then there was A to B donkeys.
Right.
They kind of specialise more in kind of passenger donkeys. They're actually
Yeah.
taking to destinations, commuting. We're going along the beach, and I'll never forget it. The saddle became loose on the donkey, and I was kind of ended up underneath the donkey as it was trotting along, and I was like face to face with its genitals.
Okay.
And that's for half a mile. And kind of as the donkey was picking up pace, the kind of the phallus was swinging backwards and forwards, and it like, catch me on the face at every step. And it's at that point I thought, this is life.
And that's your first memory.
I'm alive, yeah.
It's being smacked in the face with a donkey's dick.
Yeah, from there, I'd say that is when my life began, really.
The only scientifically proven method of inducing labour is stimulating the nipples. This is commonly misread as simulating the nipples, with many men producing 3D replicas of their partner's breasts to little or no effect.
Now, before the birth itself, there's the small matter, Josh, of pregnancy.
Yep.
At 9 months,
Ooh.
traditionally.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not a father.
Not a father, no. Not that I know of. No, I'm not.
No.
I've not had sex with many women, really. Only
Right.
2.
Is the possibility of having children something that you've discussed with your partner?
It is, yeah. It's something that we've spoke about at length. I'm open to having kids. I like kids. What would worry me is, could I cope?
With the stress of parenthood, or?
Financially.
Right.
I've got a lot of outgoings, Phil. I live a very exuberant lifestyle. I'm having some of that crushed velvet wallpaper.
Yeah.
I'm having some of that put. That's like £12 a roll. You can't justify that kind of luxury when you've got a newborn.
What about the emotional strain that it can put on a relationship?
Yeah.
Some couples say that it actually makes them stronger.
Brings them together, yeah, I've heard that. But I don't think having kids is the answer to solving relationship problems. I think for me, if you're having problems in your relationship, the last thing you want to do is bring someone else into it. And it's kind of a threesome.
Yeah.
Which I'd be open to. Hispanic, black, Asian,
Just anything, really.
Caucasian, yeah, anything really, man or woman.
Now, some couples, or indeed some single people, when they're going through pregnancy, they like to know the sex of their offspring in advance.
Yeah.
They like to be informed so they can make certain gender-specific preparations, perhaps. When the time comes, is knowing the sex of the baby something that you'll choose to do? Or
For me, Phil, I think I'd like to know in advance.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, preferably before conception. I know people say that's kind of the last remaining surprise in life. Have you seen the new Prison Break?
I haven't.
It really twists and turns,
Right.
So that's where, if you're looking for a surprise, I mean, there's sometimes I'm watching it, and I'm thinking he's never going to get out of this prison. And then look, he does. Almost like invariably that's what happens, isn't it?
So there are surprises. still.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, I'd like to know, I think it's important to plan, you decorate the nursery, kind of gender specific colours, magnolia for a girl, kind of a cream for a boy, very subtle differences. And you get these helium balloons now from the clinic, from the hospital, and you pop them, and if blue confetti comes out, it's a boy, and if pink confetti comes out, it's a girl.
And that's how they decide the gender of
Not
the
how
baby.
they decide, it's how they break the news.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think it's quite a nice idea, but I don't really like loud noises, you see, so I think probably what I'd have to do, me and my partner would have to wait a couple of days for the balloon to deflate, and then just kind of cut it open with some scissors, just into a bin. And then we'd find out, obviously, because there's nothing that ruins a surprise like unscheduled hoovering. It's quite a good idea, actually, a way of breaking medical news to people, isn't it? The party thing.
Party favours.
Yeah, I kind of think, maybe for like lung problems,
Yeah.
just have some soot coming out of a party popper.
Pregnant women experience a heightened sense of smell, which is to help steer them away from foods that would be bad for the baby. It does, however, make them more susceptible to the lynx effect. A baby's fingerprints are formed within the first 3 months of pregnancy, making it much easier to make a positive identification when it's born.
Now, some women, and it is women, who experience pregnancy, they go through pregnancy, they report strange cravings.
I've heard of this.
I was wondering if when your mother was pregnant with you, or baby Josh, if she had any strange cravings that she reported.
A lot of women do have kind of strange cravings and things, the blue M&Ms, cravers, equal pay. But my mum, she actually had a craving for dairy Lunchables. Remember those?
I do.
And you'd kind of build your own kind of lunch. But she had a very specific kind of order, how she'd stack the Lunchables. So she'd do cracker, cheese, cracker. No, hang on. So start that again. So it's cracker. She used to go cracker, cheese, cracker, ham. No, cracker, cheese, cracker, ham, cracker. No, cracker.
Well, it's not important that if you want to move on.
Cracker, cheese. Shall I phone her?
No, leave it. We
Cracker, cheese. That's it. Cracker, cheese. Cracker, ham. Cracker.
Well, we get the general idea. So
it was massive.
Yeah,
it was massive. She couldn't really. You couldn't buy them like that. It comes with an equal amount of each. So she had to kind of buy in bulk and then just throw away a load of cheese and ham.
Sure.
Yeah. Or was it cracker?
No, don't worry about that. We get the general idea. Now, do you feel responsible for that? Are you a fan of dairy Lunchables to this day?
I can't stand them, Phil.
No.
I hate them. My mum liked them before she was even pregnant, actually. So
your mother, when she was pregnant with you,
yeah,
I imagine she'd have gone through some sort of bodily changes.
Yeah, as is the norm with
normal,
a lot of pregnant women. Belly kind of expanded.
Yeah.
Fetus inside of her.
Indeed. Swelling of the breasts and
as is
expansion of that sort of whole area.
Yeah, I think nothing's kind of out of the ordinary, I don't think, but...
No, but I mean, she was, pretty well off in that department as it is, and obviously with the additional volume, she must have been insane.
Oh, I think it's just as normal.
Probably unmanageable, I'd have thought. Terrible back problems, I've heard.
Yeah.
It can cause.
Just, going back to kind of...
Yeah, but I mean... If we stay on that just for a moment,
before getting back to the
breasts, you'd have been breastfed, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I was. I don't know how you'd have guessed that, but yeah, I was.
Well, yeah. Do you remember that at all?
I can't remember that at all. I just know from that's what my mum said to me. That I was just breastfed, so good. I think it's a lot of natural minerals in there, which is why. Is
there some sort of record of that at all, or? In terms of photo evidence?
Nothing other than I've just been told.
Videos or... Maybe even videos that she's made subsequently, just as sort of retrospective.
I don't think so.
No.
I can't... It's just for the... For
the podcast, yeah. This is all relevant. Because there's nothing online.
No, there wouldn't be anything online I wouldn't have thought of.
Believe me, I've combed her Facebook and very little. I mean, obviously you've got to work with what you can find, but it's just a shame there's not... more kind of maybe high-res images. The name George has been among the top 10 boys' names since 2013, not as a result of the royal birth, but due to an increase in women going into labour whilst shopping for clothes at Asda. Pregnancy in this day and age, Josh, it's moved on a bit. Back in the 80s, when you were in utero, there was no social media. These days, a lot of people like to post their baby scans onto social media.
Yeah.
Actual pictures of the unborn child onto Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Plenty of Fish, that sort of thing. I was just wondering how you felt about that, and if when you and your partner choose to have children, whether or not that would be something that you'd do.
No, for me that's a complete waste of time.
Okay.
Absolutely waste. As you say, it's not the 80s anymore. Things are really moving forward in terms of
the
chronology.
Time is
and I think
along.
It's certainly, and I think we've got the technology now. We could be streaming that scan live on Facebook.
I think so.
And that way people could be interacting directly with the new parent, saying I can see its dick, I can see its arms and knees. My uncle actually took part in a live medical procedure recently. Went around across the world, a colonoscopy.
Right.
It's where they put a camera into the anus. It's like a medical camera. It's not like a Kodak. Yeah, so it's like
a very small,
tiny camera.
pin-sized
Yeah, tiny camera. So that goes into the anus, and kind of that was streamed kind of worldwide. You could watch that live. It's kind of the first of its kind certainly in the UK. One problem when they took it back out of his rectum, they actually left the camera running.
Right.
And everybody saw his face.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, but he still gets recognised for it today. And that's not me saying that to try and ride his coattails. You know, he's forging his own thing now. So
you're a significant public figure in your own right, Josh.
Yeah, certainly.
Different cultures and religions have different customs when it comes to giving birth. Scientologists have a very idiosyncratic method of giving birth. Tom Cruise famously ate the placenta of his child after the birth. Is that something that you consider?
No, I'm fine, thanks, Phil. I ate before I came out.
I wasn't offering, Josh. I was wondering if, in the event of the birth of your child, that's a
possibly.
practice you'd follow.
Yeah, I'm consider it. They also do the thing, don't they, Scientologists? They believe that all birth should be in silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the baby would remember that, you know. And also, I think it's good for kids to develop an understanding of what different noises mean. You know, like a screaming is a sign that, you know, something's wrong, isn't it?
It is.
Sometimes when I look after my nieces, actually, they're 5 and 7, I'll just start screaming. Just a kind of, ah! You know, just kind of...
Yeah.
Just when sometimes they're in bed, I kind of keep the light off and just go again, scream, and they'll start crying. But then, if that happens, if they're in the street and they hear somebody screaming, they'll know it's not right, you know?
There are around 700,000 births every year in the UK, although this is spread over multiple women. It is thought that some children born now may live to be 150 years old. Like a tortoise, although unlike a tortoise, it is unlikely that any of them will become homeowners.
It's de rigueur nowadays for the partner to be present in the room as the birth is
Pending.
Yeah. Is that something that you'd be happy to do, to be in the room, to be present?
Absolutely. Yeah. Probably not for the whole thing. You know, I'd probably be there at the start, pop out, get some jobs done, and then back in at the vital moment. You know.
Yeah.
There's an interesting study actually. It's called Gosling's geese, and Gosling kind of proved that geese bonded most with the first person, or goose usually, that they saw. So what I'd probably put a mirror down toward my girlfriend's vagina,
right?
So when the baby's born, it sees itself and kind of is instantly kind of gets like a feeling of self-worth and self-esteem.
Sure. During pregnancy itself, a lot of people go along to antenatal classes. Do you know much about them?
Yeah. My cousin Juan and his wife Sue went to an antenatal class once.
They're having a baby.
I assume so, yeah. And they made a slight mix-up. They thought the class was 5 till 6.
Yeah.
It was actually 4 till 5.
Ah.
And by the time they'd arrived, it was a speed awareness course. They didn't even realise until 45 minutes in. Yeah. By that point, you know, it's too late to walk out. Yeah, got a lot out of it, actually. In fact, when Sue went into labour, Juan drove to the hospital so cautiously that she'd given birth by the time they actually got there. Didn't even pay for parking. Just turned around and put her back to the house at 20 miles an hour. Didn't get out of second gear.
Childbirth is said to be quite painful, although it's impossible to know exactly how painful unless you've done it yourself or someone tells you. It used to be a tradition for women to bake a cake during the early stages of labour to take their mind off the pain. This cake, known as a groaning cake, was then served to everyone in the room during the birth, with the knife used to slice it also coming in handy for cutting the umbilical cord.
Okay, speaking of antenatals, check this out.
What am I checking out?
Breathing.
You're breathing?
Breathing exercise, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been to an antenatal class to see what it's all about, a bit of research for this podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't pay, just kind of went in. I was in there for about 10 minutes before they said, no, come on. You can't come in here without a partner, you know, and it doesn't work as a three. You can't just link up with other people. So it's pretty, it's in, it's out, in, and then out. It's just over and over again.
So very much like breathing as you would be normally?
Kind of, yeah. I've been doing it through this whole podcast. You might not have.
I didn't pick up on that, no.
Very subtle.
Well, Josh, thanks very much for your time today.
No problem at all. Pleasure.
I hope this has provided some food for thought for any couples who are planning to have children, or indeed they've already got one on the way. Just before we go, have you got anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, actually, I'm looking for a plasterer. I've got 2 ceilings I need doing. There are texts, but I think you can just board over them.
Okay, well, we'll put your number in the
brilliant.
podcast description. People can get in touch if they're going to help with that. So until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Josh and Phil's Knowledge Club. The key grip was Elizabeth Hogg. Animation was by Matthew Matthews. Detol was by Detol. And the programme was produced by Phil Spector.